good. So the last time we talked, you wanted to do a math task dealing with the vocabulary and dealing with the elongated word problem. How did that go?
It went all right. Some of the kids, struggled with kind of plugging the pieces together, but with a little bit of like guided questions or making them think in certain ways, they were able to come to their own answer.
How about the closed reading? How was that?
It was good. It was different than I expected. I was expecting something like incredibly long, but just having a set task, it was only a few sentences. It's like, oh, okay, we can work with this.
So with the annotation technique we went over in professional development,
Right.
how did you adapt that to this task?
Trying to get them to first, identify the questions, and then taking a different color and going back and highlighting the numbers that they would need, and then other parts of the question, like what they're actually looking for, what does X stand for, what number goes with X, what does Y stand for, what number goes with Y.
Okay.
Going from there.
All right. Do you think the students really gravitated toward a literacy technique in a math class? How did they, receive that?
I would say so. A lot of them were kind of just looking at like, this is so much to take in right now, what should we do? So a lot of them, they start to make a table and try to plug it in that way instead of doing like the algebraic way where they just kind of create the equation just from the words. But once they had the table, they could say, oh, I can see where this is going from, and then they can make the relationships with literacy go between the numbers and the letters and vice versa, kind of make the connections.
So how did you provide feedback once they were complete with their task?
Most feedback was done during like as the task was going by asking them questions, and then afterward they gave them a different problem and gave them feedback on that one just to see if they could do a completely different thing.
So how did you engage the discussion too with this?
Engage in discussion, trying to find something that was relevant to them, and then just by keep asking them questions and say, okay, you guys are on the right track. How do we take this a step farther? And not giving them the answer, but make them kind of think of it and come up with it on their own, even if I'm kind of poking them in the right direction on which way to go.
Okay, so if you were to teach this again in the same structure with the close reading, with the vocabulary, what would you do differently?
I think I'd know what questions to expect from the kids. Like now, okay, I've seen them go through it once. Now I have a better understanding on what they're going to mess up on, and be able to be like, okay, I know you're going to do this wrong, so I need to provide you with this question or this kind of additive problem, which would, once you know how to do this, then you can do this, and that way, just to be able to know, okay, I know we're going to mess up, and I can kind of get you back on track, but not do it for you, but you can still figure it out.
So just thinking of the lesson afterwards, and I know you use your formative assessments, I know you use your checks for understanding. How would be the summative assessment look like dealing with this particular task in math?
I think with this task, it would be doing the same thing, except throwing a couple more constraints on it, or maybe a couple more constants, like this was an inequality in math. And so by making them say, okay, this person cannot spend this amount of money, so they know they have to have a number that's less than this, or say they have to spend at least this much money, but no more than this money. So then they have more of a range of numbers where they can kind of go between. And then also say, no, you could throw a constant in there where like they have $50 here, but they also have to spend this, which has an effect on this. So maybe just taking that problem and just adding a couple more tweaks to it, and you can make it more of a sum of a sentence where they can understand that plus a little bit extra.
Okay, so as BAS encompasses the literacy throughout all the subjects, the annotation and the text-dependent questioning, how do you feel as a math teacher going forward in planning lessons, integrating this literacy? How do you feel about it?
I think I like it because with a lot of these problems, it's kind of open-ended in the sense that there is a right answer, but there's multiple ways you can go to get the question, or to get the answer. So as long as the students, we keep working on annotating the text and coming up with the exact questions that they want, they'll be able to kind of figure out the problem in their own way, and that as long as they come to the right answer, and there's multiple ways they can do it. So and explaining what they did, they're like, okay, that makes sense.
So at the end of the day, engagement factor from 1 to 10, how engaged were they in this lesson?
I would say like a 6 or 7 because they've never really seen something like that before. It's kind of new to them, so having to like actually sit down and think on their own and come up with it, you know, it's a little bit harder than being like, here, copy this down. This is how you do it. Or it's more like you kind of coming up with the rules to the question.
All right.
And coming up with the answers. But I would say 6 or 7 just because they never thought that way before. It was more like this is new to me. But I think like doing it, it'd be more like, you know, 8, 9, 10.
Right, well that's 8, why just moderate, yeah.
Right.
7, that's awesome. So, do you have any questions for me coming from the English realm, kind of trying to marry the math? Do you have any concerns?
I think I'd get some more, you know, tasking like this because you know always have so much stuff. But other than that, I think teacher can make me, you know, refresh me on annotating the text and all those little special tricks that you guys have over there, because that's all new to me.
Okay, well, happy to collaborate. Love collaborating with the math department, and looking forward to developing a more literacy-rich school in all subject areas. Ambitious Ashley, and I'm missing Green Stars.
Marvelous Michelle.
Marvelous Michelle. Okay, we're gonna go through one more time. Second best. Need another mind. Okay, this group. Kind Kathy. Okay, this group. Jubilant. Thank you, Joe Reeves. All right, Jubilant. This group.
Energetic Elvina.
Okay, energetic Elvina. This group.
Karen Carl.
Karen Collins. Say yours, Miss Vaughn.
Benevolent.
Benevolent Betty. I love it. All right, this group.
Champion Carlisa.
Champion Carlisa. All right. Anybody else want to share theirs? They just have a present. They got to share it. Okay, we know you. You can have a seat. Thank y'all. That was a good one. Just a quick icebreaker. And it's a way you can group your students. This is not just a, you know, first day of school thing. We can group them by color. We can even group it by letter. And with our population, we can be deliberate and you can premeditate.
Thinking about maybe even adding even post-war inflation. So see, you know, how the economy was doing during that time. And the invention of the interstate was to protect us from being bombed. Never knew. It wasn't travel.
Sounds like a good lesson. Do you have any questions for me on how you can integrate the literacy piece?
I do actually. I want to, and I need probably some assistance on getting some more higher interest, lower readability type things that are associated. Because I have a video also with Obama when speaking about special ops, when he's dealing with the CIA and stuff. So I'm trying to relate that, like trying to get it to, because this is a lot of things that are going on currently. This isn't old news. This is stuff that's coming up in the news all the time. So I do show my students CNN news daily, and I love it when there's something going on with what we're talking about, Cold War, things like that.
And a good idea would be over spring break, they had the hearings about the Russians and the collusion with the election.
Perfect.
So we could probably bring that clip up just to compare that although this is 2017, it's still instances of Russian spy activity going on.
I think people would be surprised of how much power the president actually doesn't have. Like, who's the change? Like, how does that happen? He wants this to be passed. Who's knocking him down?
Right.
You know, how are they able to do that? But yes.
And we could possibly look into Time magazine, Time for Kids.
Okay. I love Time for Kids.
Get a subscription. We could.
I used to do that a long time ago when I totally, that's good stuff.
Yes.
That's good stuff. But yeah.
I can pull those resources for you. You're gonna teach it starting tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna teach the first lesson tomorrow. So it's probably gonna stretch a little bit because I'm gonna get to know my students and so do a little bit more introductory routine and such.
I do an icebreaker.
Right.
Do you have an icebreaker in mind?
I have a couple. Do you have one?
I can get you one in the morning.
I'm like, you have an idea?
If
Something
it's
that
not tonight, I'll send it to you in the morning.
Right. Well, mine might take a little longer than what sometimes I do like the learning style, the color that they are. So sometimes I do that. So it depends on how many students I have.
Right.
Yeah, it's so iffy up here, so you kind of have to play it by the audience. So.
It sounds exciting. I wish I could come up here and
Come on, girl.
sit down, but I have my own
It's a lot.
children to
It
teach.
will look a lot better once I'm actually teaching it versus me trying to explain it to you.
I understand it fully.
I've been doing this all day. I'm like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this.
Just make sure that you integrate your checks for understanding,
Right.
formative assessments. So before you go on to the next concept of the lesson, make sure everybody is on the same page and they understand.
Yeah, I have
Because
exit tickets.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then even during the lesson.
Right.
I know teachers get caught up in the exit ticket
Right.
because it's the cool thing to do, and it's good to know engage your instruction. But during your instruction, you want to check for understanding before you go on, because you don't want the student to say, "I didn't understand" at the end while you were already on that concept.
Right. Well, I asked them. I have a question in my PowerPoint. I asked them. I said, "Well, if the Rosenbergs had not been caught, what do you think would happen?" So, like, kind of give them something to. If these spies had not been caught when they did, what do you think could have or potentially happened? Just to kind of like just to stir up their get some of them to speak. Even if it's a simple answer. But I had another one too. Do you think that there are still officials in office, not in office, but political officials that feel like they know, what's the word I'm trying, they know that there are spies, but they are too scared to say or do anything about it?
That would be a good
Debate.
writing prompt or debate, because you can make it a writing prompt and really get the student's opinion, and then on the debate piece you can really go pro con.
Right.
And engage that classroom discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And that will really get, especially our population, they like to argue points.
Right, exactly.
So that'll get them
I'm kind of throwing some
engaged.
things in here. So I tend to ADD my lessons. So I have like the blueprint, but then I'll spin off and like we might end up having an awesome discussion or a debate or something just based on a question or something that like, a student brings up, and it ends up being pretty cool. But yeah, yes.
Well, like I said, it sounds like
I want to get them
lesson.
writing. They definitely need to get writing.
Yeah, the writing piece is number one. It has to be done. But the lesson sounds good. It's relevant to what we're doing right now, well, what we're going through in the U.S. right now. So you have an infinite amount of resources through the news, but I want to make sure I can find some of those reading pieces that you can work with your lower level students.
Right.
And also the icebreaker.
I just want to get them interested. The Cold War has always been something that I've always honestly avoided because it seems so boring, but it's actually not so boring.
It's wonderful when
It's
history,
wonderful.
history comes alive, isn't it?
Well, when I get excited about it, at least some of my students will get excited about it. So if I'm just like, all right, we're doing the Cold War, it's just your attitude.
And their emotions
You are
bounce off
very-
you.